I just want to say my name is Becky Volkerding, and I'm meeting with this wonderful group of people here in this room in this way, and we are making this tape for you, Senator Blunt, because we were denied our right to talk to your representative at this mobile meeting, which was nowhere publicized on your meeting location page that it was a one-on-one meeting. I think it's absurd. All these people here waived their right to privacy because your representative said she could not meet with us as a group because of privacy rights or privacy issues, and would not define what those privacy issues were. But even if that was the case, like if I were asking for something personal, none of these people here today, we took a poll, had any of those issues. They just wanted to ask some questions about where you stood on things, and we were denied that right. Now we only have an hour with your representative because she said that's what she allotted. She had other meetings she had to go to. And if she had time later, she would address us as a group. I doubt she'll have time. So that's why we're making you this video. I would appreciate to see your face at a town hall meeting in our location sometime soon.
Thank you.
Can you say your name? And
My name is Sharon Pentland. I'm from Kirkwood, Missouri. My concern, there are many, but at the top right now is where his position is on his supporting this ban that President Trump ordered. I think his position is a little vague, and I need some clarification on this. He said he does not, I think he said, support a ban or discrimination against Muslims. He did not say what he thinks about pushing Christians ahead of other religions. This concerns me. I don't think it's constitutional. I want him to clarify this. And I want him to start taking a more forceful stand with President Trump. So many things that are happening are very frightening, very concerning. I can't go through them all right now, but I want to hear more from him as a senator speaking for us and our own fears. Thank you.
thank you.
My name is Carol Moreland, and I live in St. Louis, Missouri. And my concern, and I've been lobbying about this ever since Obamacare took front stage and Missouri was hanging back and not doing the Medicaid expansion. I want to know where Senator Blunt stands on this repeal and replace of the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, because so nationwide, millions of people are going to be out on their butts without any insurance if they repeal this. Pre-existing conditions, out. Kids 26 years of age, not going to be able to be on their parents' insurance. And I would really be interested in Senator Blunt's position in terms of what he's for in terms of this replacement. Is he wanting to get rid of these pre-existing conditions thing? Does he want to go with block grants? Because the truth of the matter is block grants mean that the government gives the state of Missouri a certain amount of money. And you know how the state manages money in the state of Missouri. It doesn't go to people who are the most in need. So my big concern has to do with health care, as it always has been.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Susan Zornick-Stevens. I'm from Potosi, Missouri. And my biggest concern at this time is what he's doing, not what Roy Blunt is doing, but what President Trump is doing as far as appointing Steve Bannon to the National Security Council. I personally really believe that he strategically planned his announcement of the ban of Muslims so that this would oversee what's really going on by him actually putting his puppets in office in the attempt to take over our democracy. He is willfully doing away with our democracy, and he is willfully trying to replace it with a tyranny with him in control. And we as the people, and Mr. Blunt especially, if he enjoys living under a democratic law, then he needs to start enforcing democratic rules. Right now, Trump is under direct violation, and with several of his businesses that are in direct conflict. We need to call him on that. We need to take him out of office if he is illegally acting as president in violation of laws that are in. And I think Blunt really needs to start enforcing the United States Constitution and the laws.
My name's Deborah Donati, and I'm from Owensville, Missouri, and I'm going to follow up a little on what she said. One of my heaviest concerns as a mother of a transracial family, my husband and my daughters are white, but my son is black. And I have a lot of concerns when I saw Steve Bannon come into office. So I would like to know what does Senator Blunt plan to do? How does he plan to stand up for my family concerning someone who has been unilaterally appointed and appointing himself throughout various offices, who is a known racist? His publications are white supremacist and racist, and this is harmful to my family, and this will impact my family.
And the country.
And the country. And so I would like to know what type of stand will Senator Blunt take against Steve Bannon?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name's Deborah Cumming. I'm from Chesterfield, Missouri, and I have really just a simple issue. I need to understand what Senator Blunt believes makes Betsy DeVos qualified to be Secretary.
All right.
I'm going to jump up real quick.
Sure.
I don't think we need to have many gaps. I think we all need to jump up and do this thing. All right, I'm Connie Christians. I live in Franklin County. I vote here. We live out in Stanton. My big issue is how is Senator Blunt going to deal with the political theater that's going on right now? We're talking about putting $15 billion into building a fence with another country that we have enjoyed free trade with, and 30% of our exports go there. Now, why don't we take that $15 billion and put it into real jobs for real people? We got 6 million people in this state, and a lot of them need jobs. We need job training. We need to learn how to work in the 21st century. A lot of us don't even know how to do that. So that's what I want. I want that $15 billion to be looked at again, and let's see how we can help people domestically. Forget about going to war with Mexico.
I kind of like to embellish on what my daughter just said on the fence thing.
Say your name.
Not only is
What's
it
your
gonna
name, ma'am?
cost- Oh, I'm sorry, Sonia Trokey. I live in Stanton.
Thank you.
Not only is it going to cost a conservative estimate of $59 billion to build the thing, they've got a maintenance figure of $750,000 million every year. That's money just totally wasted in my estimation. We could put, if he's concerned about the border, why doesn't he forget the fence, put in a few more cameras, hire some more Border Patrol, give some people some jobs that he's talked about forever, and have some type of equality there. This fence thing is doing nothing but antagonizing Mexico, and it's money wasted.
My name is Kevin Madden. I'm from Fenton, Missouri. And before I begin my statement, can I see a show of hands? How many people in this room are retired? That's a pretty good number. We're all on Social Security and Medicare.
Yes.
What's Blunt going to do to stand up for us when Trump and company comes after our Social Security and Medicare? And we know that that's going to happen. And he thinks the streets are full of people now upset about the immigration bill. Wait till he tries to take, he and Trump and company try to take our Social Security and our Medicare, because that belongs to us.
That's right.
Not to Congress, not Trump. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Good job.
Come on.
My name is Dennis Inlow. I'm from Union, Missouri. I have several stances on the whole state of the nation. It seems that since Donald Trump has been in office, we are almost at war with China and Taiwan, Mexico. We don't even like Canada anymore. We're building a wall. President Trump's taking all this money to fight, to keep others out. We are not a nation of that. We are a nation from everywhere. Our people deserve health care. They deserve retirement, medical care, and they deserve a senator who listens to us. For months, I've been pasting on his Facebook page. Anytime he comes out with a notice that it's killing jobs, I'll respond back with something like, well, why are we adding 180 jobs to the economy each year? And immediately the next day, my comment is gone. If Senator Blunt wants to use a public forum for his prices or his policy and not accept comments from the public, he should be ashamed to be called a senator.
That's right.
I'm Paul Schwarzkopf. I live in New Haven, and I want to follow up on what was said about Medicaid and Social Security. I want to urge Senator Blunt to lead the Senate and the Congress into putting them on the same pension plan and same health plan that all the rest of the country is. Our founding fathers established the principle that congressional representatives should be citizen rulers. After they finish their job for the government, they should not be on a pension that's higher than any people I know make for the rest of their lives. Yes, but they should return to their civilian jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can always count on me to say something. Hi, I'm Susan Cunningham. I live just south of Pacific, and I have 2 graduate degrees in international relations and history. A lot of us don't realize just how complicated the world is. We saw that when Bush went into Iraq and that fell, it started the wave all across the Middle East, and we're still paying for that today. And will be. That is nothing compared to what's going to happen if Trump destabilizes NATO, the European Union, the free trade zone with South America. He doesn't have a clue of what he's doing. He's going to destabilize so many different, very precarious agreements we have with so many countries. We haven't seen anything yet. And I hate the fact that he's picking out countries where our servicemen are fighting. And now he says, let's go get their oil. Well, what does that tell those people over there that are helping American soldiers? Your American soldiers are here to take our oil. Do you think they're going to help us? No. This guy really has to go. Impeachment, impeachment, impeachment.
My name is Sandy, and I'm not an alcoholic.
Where are you from, Sandy?
I'm from Sullivan. Just 2 quick little things that bothers me the most right now is transparency in the government, and the other thing is our environment. I would like to see what Blunt has to say, how he's going to protect our environment and what he's going to do to encourage Trump to be a little bit more transparent with us.
Thank you.
My name is Ina Hayes, Cookie Hayes, and
Where are you from?
I have so many, from Union/Washington. I have so many concerns, but one that hasn't been mentioned yet is the freedom of the press. I think it's so important that the press be allowed to speak and to examine what the truth is.
Thank you.
Thank you, press.
I'm Pastor Amy Appel. I serve in an ELCA congregation in Washington, Missouri, 63090. And I just want to remind Senator Blunt that you can either claim to uphold Christian values or you can shut out the immigrants and the refugees who need our support. You can't do both. Christian values support immigrants and refugees. Yeah. There is no other way.
I'll say more.
My name is Christine Denler. I live in Washington. It is an absolute lie that Americans do not care about seeing the tax returns of the president. The only way we are going to know what conflicts of interest exist are going to be by looking at those tax returns. And we as Americans have a right to know that our president is in fact looking out for our best interest and not those of his portfolio.
What do you think of divestment?
Yeah. There is no way he can divest his massive holdings. He'll be out of office before he could divest fully and legally. But in the meantime, somebody needs to demand to look at those and see what... It could even be a bipartisan confidential committee. I don't care. I just want somebody to start connecting the dots between Russia and oil and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I'm Molly Derner from Washington, Missouri. My concern that hasn't been brought up yet is with the new Supreme Court Justice nominee. That we request that Senator Blunt support a moderate nominee that represents a wide array of Americans, and not just the far right.
Thank you.
I talked earlier about Steve Bannon, but I have so many issues too. And just let me say to everyone here, thank God that I'm alive today, because Obamacare saved my life. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013, and before that time, my husband's insurance had a lifetime spending cap of $300,000. My coverage, my care took over $500,000. And I would have been left out with a debt that I could not afford and treatment I could not afford, and I would have died. Beyond that, of course, the pre-existing clause. And so now, although I'm a cancer survivor, if they repeal that, I don't have any options for any further coverage. And if you know anyone that has cancer or other terminal illnesses, sometimes they can come back at any time. Yes. So it's always, it's waiting there. It's always a shoe. So I would like to know if Senator Blunt would please stand up. And if we're repealing things from Obamacare, where are the replacements? What are we going to do?
Yeah. Right, right.
Survivor right here, sister. And we're worried. How many? Raise your hand if you're a breast cancer survivor. Look at this. Look at that. How many people and what is going to happen? What kind of drugs will not be available just to keep surviving? And the pre-existing condition, there's no way they're going to be able to put this through without getting rid of this, at least what they want to do.
I'm old enough that I'm on Medicare, so I don't have that problem.
But you need
But all my
supplemental coverage.
sisters will if they're not retired.
Well, you need
Single payer.
How many other people have any kind of pre-existing? Any kind of pre-existing?
Well, yeah, if you're alive, yeah.
Senator Blunt, 1 in 5 Missourians are on the ACA right now. 1 in 5. So you're going to tell 20% of the population in Missouri, hey, you're on your own, kicking you out of the boat.
And also,
that's what's up here.
Senator Blunt, when he was a member of the House, was tasked with coming up with a replacement for Obamacare.
That's right.
Yet he has had nothing but bullet points.
Right.
That's all they provided to us. Not any. What's wrong with a single payer system? I'm developing countries.
Obamacare and stop calling it Republican care, because it was not the program that was instilled by Obama. It was the compromise because the Republicans would not sign off on anything else. We're stuck with a crappy program right now simply because of the Republicans, not the people who support health care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another concern. I wonder what it's going to take for the Republicans in Congress to start questioning what Donald Trump is doing.
Now, I've got so many concerns, and everything that's been mentioned is on my list. Gloria centered Catawissa. But one thing that hasn't specifically been talked about, all of Trump's appointees are extremists to major agencies and positions. And one that I think affects almost everybody here is He's trying to point someone that's very extremist to the FCC that's opposed to net neutrality. And we all reap the advantage of that.
Right.
We want the free, open internet, and we don't appreciate that, and we're concerned if Trump goes, what they're going to do about the extremists that are in place, if they're going to keep all these people or put somebody that's more moderate in charge of major agencies to take care of the environment, the health, and everything.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jordan Seago. I'm from Union, Missouri, and I am pretty much in agreement with all these statements I've heard today, but I haven't heard one in support of Planned Parenthood. And Missouri has one, we have a couple Planned Parenthoods. We have one that performs abortions in the state, and that is in St. Louis, Missouri. And I want to make it clear to Senator Blunt that even though he is in support of banning abortion does not get rid of abortion. It bans safe abortion.
Yes.
Women's lives depend on accessibility. And the other thing I take issue with is Planned Parenthood is very proactive in providing sex education. Our St. Louis Planned Parenthood last year had 7,000 enrollees in their sex education course. You know those numbers are affecting how many pregnancies we have, unwanted pregnancies. So I think it's important to not only advocate for women's health, but to stand up for it and not try to strip women of their constitutional right to abortion. And please, please, please keep Planned Parenthood funded.
And if you do plan to defund Planned Parenthood, what is your option for what's going to come after that? We need education, we need birth control, we need insurance. If you take those things away, the abortion rate will not go down, whether it's legal or not.
Right.
Here it comes.
Have to piggyback.
Third time's a charm.
Have to piggyback again. President George W. Bush signed an executive order limiting Planned Parenthood's service internationally in an attempt to reduce the number of abortions. In actual fact, the agencies involved documented after that order that the number of abortions increased, and they were not safely done abortions. Could you do something to influence President Trump to rescind his order, which is the same thing that President George W. Bush made, which increased the number of abortions and imperiled the health of many women?
That's right.
My name's Suzanne Jackson. I'm from Washington, Missouri, and I want to know why the Republicans for 8 years have wasted all their time going over Benghazi, but there's no investigation whatsoever into how Russia has affected our elections. Yeah. And I want to see Senator Blunt stand up for that, because this is our democracy that's at stake.
That's right.
Thank you.
What's your name?
So,
What's your name?
my
Where are you
name's
from?
Lori Moore, and I'm in Leesburg, Missouri, and I feel very concerned about the fracking and the drilling, the coal mining that's all being done right now in the United States. I think this is in Senator Blunt's purview to resist these kinds of measures. What I do work in natural resources, I feel that what we're looking at is just a continuing muddying of the waters, polluting of our airs, making it so much worse for species diversity. We live in one of the most biodiverse areas in the country, and it's so sad to see what is happening to these lands. Now, of course, if there's a media blackout, we don't see it unless we come up to it face to face. I believe that Senator Blunt should, in fact, I call on him to oppose, to reject all measures to strip the Endangered Species Act, to reject drilling, fracking, anything like that on public lands. We have, this is taxpayer land.
It's our land.
It's our land. We have the right to sell it. That's right, they should not be able to
But
sell
look
it.
who's giving him money for campaigns. Go down his list, look at all the energy companies.
Nevertheless, I call on him to go against it. Nevertheless, we are part of his constituency, whether he likes it or not. And so I also call on him to vote no on the 3 nominees important to the environment. The EPA nominee, Pruitt, the agriculture, hello, the guy who wants more factory farms, Perdue, and also Secretary of the Interior. These are all vital to protecting our environments in very different ways. Our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren deserve to have this beautiful, diverse, clean land given intact to them as best as we can. So I call on Senator Blunt to please help us. Yeah.
Paul Schwarzkopf from New Haven. I want to follow up on what was said about protecting the environment and global warming. My wife and I, following my first retirement, camped in as many national parks as we could, and we talked quite a bit with our national park rangers. They, because they live in the out of doors, are very aware of climate change, the migration of mammals to the north, the migration of birds to the north, all of the other destructive things that are happening. And now President Trump has put a gag rule on our National Park Service rangers.
Not his employees.
You're right. And Senator Blunt, I would encourage you to lead the Senate to provide checks and balances to protect us from a president who is like a loose cannon, firing off whatever direction somebody suggests that he fire.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Hi, I'm Christine Johansson. I'm from Davisville, Missouri. And I have I have many things, everything people have said. But I am a licensed clinical social worker for 30 years. And the ACA being repealed not only affects me tremendously. I'm now looking to go to Mexico for any kind of health care, which used to be my plan, which I'm not. I think it's a little ironic that I live in a country that with these amazing resources, and I'm having to look at where I might have to go if I have a chronic condition that I have to treat. I also look at my clients. My friends and I were just talking the other day on the phone, and she said that she had spent 8 hours that day listening to people cry because they were losing their health care. And these are people with severe psychiatric conditions. These are people with severe medical conditions. And this is appalling. I also wanted to tag on what was just last said. We can go on, I could go on for hours about the environment. But I guess what I've never understood is 2 things. One is there's so many more jobs to be had with renewable energy.
Yes.
We can do this. It will not hurt us to do this. And what in God's name do you think is going to happen if we don't? I mean, if you look at the science, we do not have another 10 years to delay this.
That's right.
The hour is late. And no one gets out of this okay. It's not like the Republicans are going to get out of this okay.
Right.
None of us get out of this, and all of this becomes moot if we do not deal with this and deal with this now. So I know, Senator Blunt, that this has not been your issue. I understand. But I'm just asking you, what are you thinking that you think that this is negotiable? The Earth is about done. It's about game over.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know exactly where to start. This is Dave Daring from Pacific, Missouri, which is my wife is Susan Cunningham, so you probably know her. Anyway, one of my points that I mentioned her about is that it's about time for the government to get off the bottoms and do something like the education.
Yeah.
I taught science for a number of years with a master's degree. Chemistry, physics, biology, you name it. Now you tell me there's such thing as no climate change, you're talking to the wrong person.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Now then, if you remember anything about the 60s, the Russian Sputnik, the government provided money to train teachers in math and science to go ahead with advanced programs. Guess what happened? It was a successful program. Now it's about time for them to get on their bottom, off their bottom, and develop an educational program to train our kids, scientists, potentials, promote a program that gets more people involved in science, technology. And if we can get the science technology going, we'll have plenty of jobs.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Good job.
Hi, my name's Greg Curlin, and I also live in, that was my wife there earlier. She covered a lot of my base. And we're from a little tiny place called Dillard. It's not even on the zip code, so we have to call ourselves Davisville. But I know, Senator Blunt, you are a proponent of, well, you're an anti-abortion person, a pro-life person, but I don't think life should end at the embryonic level. All the people that are alive and walking around right now, that's life too.
That's right.
Think tank has said that there are 300,000 deaths a year due to climate change around the world. That's a lot. It's going to go up to like 500,000. I think we look around, we see floods, we see droughts, we see all kinds of things. We have really, we're beyond the tipping point. I know you're a climate science denier, but you're really a very small minority now of people who are not listening to science.
That's right.
And we have to do this, or life on this planet will be over. And that is important to so many of us.
Right.
My question to the people who denounce climate change, what if, just what if, in 5 years, all of a sudden it dawns on them that, oh my gosh, this is real, but now it's too late to fix it.
Yeah.
What now?
Okay. No, I interviewed a climate scientist. His name is John Englander. He has worked with the government. He works with the Coast Guard. He's been to Greenland. He goes there all the time. He has. I interviewed him in September in Palm Beach in Florida. I used to live there. I still work with clients there remotely online. And he's seen the ice slipping off of Greenland. It's melting off the land, going into the ocean. It's the same idea. You're adding water into the glass is going to overflow. Sea level rise is imminent. That's not even an argument. He says we're so close to the tipping point of most people believing this is a real thing, and it is. And for people, I'm telling you, you go down there on the A1A highway in the intercoastal on Florida, you will see the effects. Their streets are flooding. There are homes being lost, but they're still building. $1 million high-rises. Oh, Miami's put $400 million into a project to lift the streets, pump the water out, and they only have like a couple of decades where that's going to work. The National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA.
Part of NASA.
Part of NASA. NOAA just upgraded their predictions for the 21st century, and they said it was going to be 2 feet of sea level rise over the next 100 years. It's it's now 10 feet.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. They just did this last week.
That's
If you're
going to
ignoring NASA, then you are really, really not clued into what the facts are.
They are saying that's going to be over a long period of time. Probably, I would say maybe a few of us, the younger ones, might live to see that. But the rest of us will be gone. But do we really want to leave a world like that?
No. Why do we have kids? To put them in torture.
And that's not to say that there aren't going to be repercussions in the next 10 years. Because this isn't going to happen, boom. It's going to be a slow.
Well,
all those people on the coast.
Senator, all these people in these rooms are talking about the issues that matter most for life.
Yes.
Our health, our planet, our education. I really don't think many of us are worried about defense because, good Lord, we've got more guns here than ever, thank you, Senator Blunt. Yeah. When is the senator going to come to a town hall meeting and hear the concerns of his people?
That's right.
He's limited this to a one-on-one meeting for 1 hour. Senator Blunt, there's millions in the state that did not vote for you.
That's right.
And you are still our representative in Congress. We ask that you address the EPA, address healthcare, give us some facts. Call it Trump care, I don't care, but it's working. Fix what's not.
He's afraid of us.
And these are your people. That's why you won't show up, and that's why you're rolling out.